Everybody, thank you so much for coming today. I'm Professor Behar, and welcome to our first. Oh, this is interesting. There's an audio feedback. I'm going to mute my own view. Okay, that's better. Can you guys still hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, fantastic. So thank you for coming. I'm Professor Behar, and we are doing an experiment today with a virtual exhibition opening. I've been working this whole semester with this amazing group of people, the capstone class for spring 2020 for the new media arts minor. And we have put together an exhibition, as we always do every year, of student work that's created. The work is created by the students, and the exhibition is created and curated by the students. So this is both a personal artistic journey for every student who creates an artwork, and also a collaborative journey for the whole class working together to create this exhibition. And of course, this semester, things took a turn partway through. So we were about halfway through our process when the global pandemic came about, and we needed to switch and change the way that we were working to create an online exhibition. So we have done that. The exhibition is called Defy the Domain. And some of the projects are projects that students had started earlier in the semester and sort of saw through to the end with the same idea. Other students in the class ended up having to change their ideas because we had to create works that could be produced while in quarantine. One of the kind of amazing and wonderful outcomes of this is a collaborative project with 7 students in the class working together to create a project that actually addresses what it's like right now in their lives, in what we're calling the new normal. So we've launched this project online on our website. In a few minutes, we'll do a little walkthrough of the website, and all of the projects are online in their entirety. But what we wanted to do for today, for our opening, is this experiment. So what we're trying to do is to give this class a virtual exhibition opening. And we're doing that by combining a bunch of different platforms. We're obviously using Zoom as a way for us to be together and for you to have access to us. And then we're also using YouTube Live Premiere. What we're going to be doing is switching between the Zoom and YouTube Live Premiere, and we're going to be playing 1-minute excerpts from each of these projects. So I'll have each student introduce their work, and we'll play a short excerpt from each one. The full works are all available online. But before we get started, I would like to turn this over to one of the members of this group. Femi he's going to give us a brief sort of explanation of what we mean by Defy the Domain, which is the exhibition title. So Femi, maybe you can talk us through that for a moment.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Femi. I'm a senior in Baruch, obviously. And so basically with the title and with the whole project, Defy the Domain is this digital landscape that we've created through AI and automated technology to bring ease and eventually make us all more connected. But in turn, it has taken over every aspect of our lives and unfortunately completely altered the way that we see each other and express ourselves both consciously and subconsciously. So defying the domain is making a conscious decision to highlight the negative effects of living in an automated world and actively working to halt and minimize those effects. And
thank you, Femi.
Yeah.
So the way that we've organized the exhibition, ordinarily our exhibitions are in the New Media Art space in the Newman Library. and the library gallery space is organized on 4 floors. So this exhibition has 4 sections, as does the physical space, and the ways that we've sort of broken down this concept of defying the domain is through these 4 different sort of collections of artworks. So there's works that center around the idea of the user. There's works that center around the idea of protocol, and there are works that center around the idea of networks. And lastly, there's a section called Safe Mode, which is this collaborative project that I mentioned earlier. So, Brian, are you able to pull up the website for us? And maybe we can have a quick look at that. Okay, so here's the landing page. So these are the different sections. There's a press release under About, but maybe if you can click on User. This section has the full-length videos by Miriam Saad, Adyan Rahman, Femi Fagbemi, and there's also a 3-part video game which is playable online by Danica Raz. Brian, are we about ready to start streaming the videos? Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. So the first of many wonderful projects. Well, first off, thank you to everybody that joined us in the stream. We truly appreciate it. But first of many wonderful projects is Safe Mode, a collaborative video giving a glimpse into our lives during the COVID-19 pandemic, stripped down to our essential functions, and our only real form of connection is through technology. We have entered what is a literal safe mode. This piece is created by 7 artists, and which we'll introduce right now. Starting off is actually me, Mushan Khan.
Me, Caitlin Chu.
Me, Chichi Wu.
Me, Narayan Omar. Me, Lauren Lee.
When you're ready, just gently opening the eyes again.
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Wendy and I'm a senior majoring in graphic communication. My animation is called Error 404. The animation is about making choices based on society's established norms versus what the individual wants.
Yes, hi guys. I'm Miriam. I'm a graduating senior. My major is corporate communications, and this is my video, Pandemic Cravings 666, and it's about seeking comfort in the wrong place.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Centers of Disease Control. This is a public health emergency. Health officials have confirmed positive cases of coronavirus, or known as COVID-19. This is an epidemic that is deadly and shouldn't be taken lightly. The CDC is working on creating a vaccine for this virus and is trying to figure out how the virus started. The state is inviting you to include Texas, Washington State, California, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Louisiana, Mississippi, Colorado, Illinois, Kentucky, Florida, Georgia, Maryland, New Jersey, Virginia, New York, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Oregon, Arizona, Idaho, Missouri, Oklahoma, Indiana, and Virginia. This is for health professionals.
Hi, my name is Ruth Jean Lubin. I am a senior at Baruch, a marketing major and new media arts minor. My film is called In Their Eyes, and it is focusing on the wrongful portrayal of Black men in America and the criminalization through media and how that has led to the current police brutality crisis.
Shame out the game of cops and robbers ain't a game now.
Are these sounds shocking? Or do you find yourself unfazed because he doesn't look like you? Why is it that we as a nation have become immune to another Black life lost? If it happened to be a white man killed, would we still scoff? If the roles were reversed and you were cursed to have the skin you were born in, then you would understand. Tears are shed left and right when the victim of a shooting is white. But when it's a Black man, we turn away. Because he kinda, sorta, maybe was possibly gonna be a criminal, right?
Hi guys, my name is Jason Jiggets. I'm majoring in accounting, finance, and the name of my project is Algorithm. What I wanted to do was produce sounds and that are taken from daily activities and turn them into something musical. So here you go.
Yeah, so I'm Apsara. I'm currently a senior at Baruch College. I'm a digital marketing major with a minor in new media arts. And my project is called Explore Your Options. And I basically wanted to do an experiment on if we could really curate our explore page to our personal tastes.
Hey everyone, I'm Priscilla, and I am currently a senior in Baruch College, and my major is CIS. My minor is New Media Capstone, woohoo, Professor Behar. And my artwork is about, well, my artwork title is called The Cookie Monster, and it's basically about how our internet privacy is stolen and taken away of us. And The Cookie Monster is basically an animation video of how this captured, info of us, evolved into a monster. Please enjoy the video.
Yeah, hi everybody. So my name is Danica, and my piece is called The Third Place. It's a three-part art game series that highlights the flaws of seeking immediate perfection and basically striving for giving oneself impossible standards.
Yep. Hi, my name is Joanne. I'm a graduating senior, and for my capstone project, I wanted to create an ASMR style video that focuses on kind of how the spread of a biological disease this semester has fostered an additional viral spread of kind of racist intents. So Brian's going to play the video. Thank you.
Yeah. So hi. I'm Femi, senior at Baruch, digital marketing major, and new media arts minor. And my project's called Yes, Mr. Python. It's basically just a dramatization what of basically what could happen if we leave searching for love up to AI or algorithm as opposed to trying to find love organically. So that is what my project's about.
We are Python. Mr. Python, to be exact.
Who is Mr. Python? Who is this? What is? Why are you? Who is this company? Why are you calling me from that?
We utilize AI data and behavioral data to track everyone.
I don't want to be some guinea pig. What are you talking about?
Sir, trust us. We know you.
I'm not an
We
external
know who
human,
you
like,
are.
No.
What do you have to lose?
What do you mean? What do I
You
have
know
to
you
lose?
just got out of a long 3-year relationship. Trust us.
How do you even
please.
know that we've been?
It's our job to know. We know that you know you'll never find love on your own.
Yeah, this is the.
Hi guys, my name is Adian. I am a major in statistics and quantitative modeling here at Baruch in my senior year. And my project actually focuses on connecting the world of automotive design to animation. So what I have here is a Lamborghini Huracan that I designed artwork for, focusing on all different sorts of modern art themes, as well as connecting it to classic cartoon characters that you'll see in the design, to show how a car can transcend the idea of just a mode of transportation.
Sauce it down, sauce it up. You too much, ain't enough, ain't enough. Where you from? Throw it up, going nuts, going down. Sauce it down, sauce it up. You too much, ain't enough, ain't enough. Where you from? Throw it up, going nuts, going down. Every day I'm ballin', so you know the story. I'm so apart, my pockets enormous. This is the last warning. Met that girl that night. No, girl, I'm sorry. Hang up, girl, don't call me. No, you won't have me caught up all up on Mari. Cash out, make it rain, no game of time. Ride me like a Harley, only boy in the party. I was on the phone.
You're welcome.
Yeah, okay. Hello, my name is Tang, and I'm a major in book senior, and I'm marketing major and minor in new media arts. My video is called "The Consequence of Action," and mine is animation about eating unhealthy.
So for this Q&A, Folks are welcome to type questions that you might have for any of the artists into the chat, and we'll be monitoring the chat to answer them.
Oh, hi. All right. So I think the Cookie Monster came a long way because when I first started out my project, I didn't know what the Cookie Monster shit looked like, and I think you guys remember in my work in progress, like it was undefined. It was just an image with eyes. So my inspiration, I suppose, it just came from, I don't know, that's a good question, I guess. Maybe because of COVID, it's just like I noticed I've been streaming a lot every day. I mean, not streaming a lot, like I've been online a lot, and I noticed my browsing history has been like being jumbled up. And the reason, well, you guys don't know the ending, should I spoil the ending? But it's the idea that because we put so much of our information online, there's no like one defined profile of us. And so that's why it's called the Cookie Monster. It's not called you. So you can have a different version of yourself on Facebook, a different version of yourself on Twitter. We don't know that because you choose what you want to put online. So I guess that's just where the inspiration came from.
There's a question in the chat for Ruth.
Yeah, so I see someone asks, how did the concept come about? So for my original project, I knew I wanted to do something that focused on kind of like men and masculinity. My original video concept idea was looking at like kind of like what it means to be a man in America and in society. But because of COVID, I kind of had to switch up my project a little bit because I wanted to do interviews originally. So for this video, it actually came when I was just like scrolling on Instagram, and then one of the clips that I put within my video, I actually saw it on Instagram that night. And for me, it just like hit me in like such a new way because it was literally like a couple blocks away from my house that this police stopped a kid walking home, and kind of like they just, oh, like 18 officers came and like attacked the kid. So like for me, that's like had me very shocked because it was so close. It hit so close to home, and the boy was almost the same age as my brother. And I didn't really know what to do with it. I knew I wanted to take some sort of action, but I didn't know what to do. So that night I wrote that spoken word that's at the end of the video. And then from there, I realized I can make this into kind of a larger, bigger video and topic to kind of like go deeper into police brutality and the portrayal of Black men in media. So it came from, the concept came from Instagram, to answer the question in short, and just realizing that this is a problem that is not really going away unless we start talking about it more often. Someone else asked, how long did it take to put the exhibit together? So we had to do it fairly quickly. COVID-19 closed our school in like the mid-March. So from there, we immediately had to start trying to figure out how we were going to put our exhibition online since it can no longer be in person. So we honestly had like just a little bit over a month to put this all together. And then Brian's follow-up question after that was, how has COVID changed the projects within the exhibit for each of these artists? So I'll just start. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but for me, my original project, I wanted to interview men and ask them questions about what it means to be a man and how that fits into their like societal roles and how they view themselves as a whole. So because we have to stay at home, I can no longer do those interviews the way I wanted to. So I had to switch my video and instead start using found media from online and YouTube and other sources. Miriam, I know your video kind of changed. Would you like to speak on that a little bit?
Oh yeah, so similar to Ruth, like my original video idea, I wanted to interview New Yorkers, and once quarantine started, I wasn't able to do that, so I had to like improvise and change like the whole concept. So I actually started like working on the project, like I think 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Thank you. Okay, so the next question is, how did having your artwork exist virtually and not in a physical space change your artwork's messaging? So does anyone want to answer on that one?
I think so previously, before, like when the semester first started, we were all working on our own projects individually. I actually don't even remember what my original project was about, but because we had to change to an online exhibition, um, it really like it's like we are able to reach a wider audience in a way. And so that kind of like made me think, it changed my thought process from like what is something that I can display in like Baruch's new media art space, for Baruch students to see. But because now this is online, our audience is just like that much more wider. So and then we formed this collaborative team to broadcast a message to, I guess, like a wider audience is what I'm trying to say. Um, but like to go back to or not to go back to, but like I kind of want to ask the same question like to the other people in the collaborative team is like, how do you feel about like all this change and like the our upcoming of this collaborative project?
Yeah, I could pick up on that. So, I feel like with our exhibition becoming virtual, is definitely changed our message of our project. I think what we really want to achieve, especially for the collaborative project, the city that slept, is to really show that despite being separated like physically, there is a way to connect with each other through like virtual means, or just like being there for each other emotionally and mentally. And I think that's something that we really try to stress like within our project and within our exhibition, just by holding this virtually.
Just to add on to what Caitlin just said, the whole collaborative team was really a great way for me to keep my sanity, just because I had constant communication with a group of people that were really great to work with. They've honestly been the best team that I've ever had. And we would have like 2-hour meets with each other when we're doing our projects. It would always be fun. We were always laughing. So that was a great add-on to, despite the whole situation, having these group of people was really good.
Just to pick up off on that, I want to totally agree. Like, I think that switching over to a collaborative project was really great for me, because one of the things that we lost during this quarantine was like our connection to each other. And by doing a project collaboratively, we're able to not only like we make our collective work that much more powerful by uniting our voices, and especially because the format that we chose to do our project in, an exquisite corpse format, which basically is a surrealist method in which we all work on a part of the project together and then combine it, and the pieces like will fall as they will, and like that is our project. And I think that is really like it's a really great like example of like what a collaborative work can really achieve.
Yeah, and since I guess we're on the topic of like talking about the collaborative project, there are 2 more questions that have popped up by Daniel Lickman, fellow Baruch professor. Uh, so he said that I love to hear from the collaborative team about how this period of isolation influenced your experience of collaboration, and how did you use digital interfaces such as Zoom to coordinate developing a creative idea together and to edit. Since I am a part of the collaboration team, I'll start off by just talking about how when it came to like really coming about the kind of idea that we want to express, one of the things that we did have to face is the fact that we can't meet each other physically. And then as quarantine progressed, also just not being in the same time zone. For instance, one of our group mates, like Lauren, she had to move back to Texas during this quarantine, which since we're all the rest of us are in New York, there is like an hour time difference between like her and us. So that was one obstacle that we had to face. But I think what really allowed us to like get through basically getting this project together is just really being organized and really communicating with each other and having that open communication throughout this process.
I actually want to add on to what Caitlin is saying. Communication was like a huge role. So having a team that was able to communicate with one another, and also there were many outlets. It wasn't just like Zoom that they would contact. Like for instance, I was really busy at some point, and then my team members were able to reach out to me through via iMessage. So like technology definitely played a role also.
Yeah. So I just want to actually read a question that we got for Ruth in the chat. So Stephanie Jones says, "Thanks for speaking on that incident, Ruth. Great points. Since your project was exploration of Blackness, masculinity, and police brutality, did you read any literature that helped you develop it?" I think that's a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So because it was such a short period of time, I didn't really have as much time as I would like to read literature in full. I mainly started research. I'm gonna be honest, I was not the most educated person on the whole police brutality crisis prior to this project. So I did a lot of like self-research through articles online, watching videos and interviews of people's personal experiences, things like that, as well as a book that inspired me within this. It is a fictional book, but I highly recommend it. It's called The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. And that kind of looks at like the life of a friend of someone who was shot and killed by police and he was innocent. So I do definitely want to do more research in full after working on this project on the whole police brutality crisis. But mainly I looked at news articles and like personal descriptions of people who have gone through it. There's also another question by Stephanie Jones from earlier. They asked, I noticed there was a lot of music in this exhibition, especially compared to the previous ones. How did you decide when music was best? So in my project, I did use short music and music video. For me, I know that sometimes music is kind of what speaks to people louder than actual words sometimes, like just speaking to them. So I was looking for a song that really spoke on like police brutality crisis, and I was able to find this song called Water Guns by Todrick Hall, and really looking at how, you know, people are taking lives as if it's something that's a light matter, as if they're playing around as kids, but really it's not water guns that we're using. These are real guns and real bullets that are killing people. And that song fit perfectly with the message that I wanted to portray through my film. So it just so happened that I found the perfect song for the perfect music choice for my film. So yeah.
All right, so I just want to quickly go back to a question that we had for Adian. So Jose Espinal asked, what inspired the style of the Lamborghini video, as in the angles, transitions, overlays, etc.?
Yeah, so basically what I wanted to do was take kind of the elements of design in the car and almost create it into the video to keep that vibe and keep that theme going. So obviously, as you can see in the car, it's very abstract in the ways, and there's paint splatter everywhere, different types of art. And at the same time, also, I wanted to relate to the actual characters themselves in the artwork. That's what you see in the beginning of the video, the overlays of the actual animations for like a direct connection. So I wanted to sort of focus on the car, but also transcend the car at the same time. And what was the other thing? Oh, and the transition. So the transition of the paint splatter thing, that was just an effect, obviously, like I said, playing into the theme of the whole theme of the video was to play into the car, but at the same time, keep it abstract, keep the theme of the artwork more so than that answers the question.
I have a question for Danica. I know like most of the class chose to go with videos for this project. What inspired you to create video games?
Thanks for that question. Actually, I was planning to do animation, so it was sort of a video and just you would watch it. But then I was starting to get a hang of my art games class and learning the code, understanding it, and just learning where to place things and make a scene. And I kind of figured I could do it, so I kind of just pushed through with it for my art project, and it worked out really well. I have great professors. I actually have a question for Joanne. I know yours and Ruth's have very like these social issues that are prominent in this day and age, and I'm just curious why you chose to use ASMR, like an ASMR style video, compared to like the usual, like you can see intense scenes that are happening during that specific period. And I just wanted to know why ASMR was like your choice. It's interesting. It's different.
Oh yeah, good question. I guess for me is I've just watched a lot of ASMR videos because I like how it calms me, but also um, especially in times like these where like the world is pretty stressful, I didn't want to kind of bombard people with like this message that I had. So I guess for the people who were trying to find some calm within the world, they could watch that video, but also like it's another way of communicating quietly like our existence as we are now. I guess, yeah.
So I actually want to borrow a previous question, but this I want to ask Jason. So, our exhibition is fully online. You could have chosen to do like so many different things, but you chose to do an audio project and like successfully, I might add. So what inspired like your choice of medium?
Well, it was just the word algorithm. When I took the definition from it, it was just a process, step-by-step process. So what I wanted to do was add it and make sure that I incorporated some kind of sounds that could actually be built up and turned into music. So when I thought about the whole process and what I wanted to do, that just came first thing to me was just creating some kind of music, because when you think of music, you have to actually start with a bass, start with some kind of keys, and then it's just a buildup of processes. And that's how I produced the audio sound that I have now.
Actually, I have a question for Afsar. So interestingly enough, you were one of the only people that were able to conduct an experiment. Some people had to do like interviews, but we got cut off because of the quarantine. But you were actually able to complete a whole experiment because it was strictly social media. So my question is, did you have any interesting results that kind of shocked you, or anything to say on the results that you did get?
Yeah, so I started with like a whole new page. And the thing is, like, the first day, I got like really random posts that had nothing to do with the stuff I liked. So I thought that was really weird. But yeah, other than that, I felt like it was pretty surprising that like it changed pretty instantly. Like within like a few minutes, I saw like instant changes. And like by the next day, like it had completely changed to like things I had liked, which was really interesting.
Does like your experiment and your results, does that now change like how you use social media on your personal accounts, like how you interact with like Instagram posts and people that you follow?
Yeah, I started to like more posts that I want to see on my Explore page, because before I wouldn't check my Explore page as often because I didn't really like what I saw. But now I've been seeing it a lot more often. Yeah.
Oh, I have a question for Femi. Oh, so I noticed like how originally your video was like mostly outdoors. How has COVID, did it change or affect your project in any way?
Well, yeah. So basically, due to COVID and isolation, I wasn't able, haven't been able to see my girlfriend since we've been here, and she was going to be a major part of the overall video. So obviously, I had to make do. But the original video was just outdoors as a test run, but eventually, I even in the original video that I had for the website, I also had some outdoor scenes, but it didn't really fit. I mean, or it took away, I guess, from the overall allure of the video. So I had to make the major changes I had to make were I had to make the video more centered on me, which was I was the user of the Python. So basically, COVID it hindered how many actors I could have had in my overall video. So I limited it mostly to me and my brother. But you won't see that video in the 1 minute, that part in the 1 minute clip, but in the full video on the website, you'll be able to see him. He comes in later. But yeah, so basically the most COVID did was hinder my ability to use more actors as opposed to I'm just able to use my nucleus family as opposed to be able to use my girlfriend or anybody else. So that's basically the major way it hindered it.
I had a question for Jason. So I mean, your video really stood, not your video, your artwork really stood out because it's audio based. So I was wondering what was the thought process behind that, as well as like how was like the learning curve for the software that you were using to produce this artwork.
Yeah. So when I started, it was just my original thought was just starting to build up on everyday sounds. So it wasn't really as you could say, the music that it was now. It was more on the process of how to get to that step. But after learning some new software, I used Fruity Loops to actually learn the software that I'm using now. And I was able to incorporate the sounds that I had and change the tone of it and change these, I guess you could say, the tune and make it into an actual track that you heard a few minutes ago.
I have a question for Wendy. So your animation was one of the few ones like in this entire class where it was strictly like something that you created. You know, you didn't have to film anything and cut and do anything like that. What was your experience making something like that, and how you created like a cohesive storyline?
So my animation didn't really get affected by the situation. In fact, because of the situation, I did get inspired to add on a few extra scenes that I otherwise wouldn't have thought of. So the whole process was something I did think of initially because I am a big fan of animation prior to this class. So just to be able to kind of incorporate my life experiences and what I'm interested in was a very interesting experience.
I have a follow-up question for Wendy. This is really particular, but on your video, you had those symbols on the captions instead of writing the word like or the major. Like I was just curious if the symbols had any specific meaning.
Not particularly, but the font I used was Wingdings, and if you translate it back to like regular English, I think one of the first part was art, and then the second was law, and I just chose two, I guess, very different subjects or I guess career paths that were 3 letters long.
So I have a question for Danica actually. So you also chose to do something like not like a video or anything. My question is like, what were some of the challenges that you faced in like learning the software like required for you to create your artwork?
Well, personally, the coding itself is really difficult. My class really focused on the aesthetic part and the art part, and coding was not incredibly detailed, but I would work with my professor and also look up some videos of tutorials online that would help me out. And it was a big challenge for me, but in the end, I kind of learned some stuff. I kind of understood the code more, like I can move things around. But it's really an inspiration now that I want to look further into coding and learning game design. And yeah, it's really good.
Thanks.
Question for Professor Behart. I'm wondering what this experience was like for you, kind of seeing your classes work shift from something physical to digital, and how that experience has been different from like your other classes.
Thank you. That's a great question. This has been, I think for everyone, this has been a really unprecedented semester. And I think one of the things that for me has been really lovely about this has been actually sort of, for me, as most of you know, I'm kind of a control freak. So I have learned in this class that I can actually let go of some of this and sort of trust that you guys are working behind the scenes and coming up with amazing ideas that, you know, I've never even, I mean, I had never heard of OBS, the software that Brian's using to facilitate our live stream right now. So that's a huge change, is both in terms of sort of letting you guys work with less rigorous input from me at every step along the way, because, you know, as you all know, we've had a lot of we've had class time, but then we've also had a lot of one-on-one check-ins, but there's a lot that you guys are doing that you're just doing on your own, which is very different from the way that the class usually runs. And the other thing I think is something about this collaborative project that emerged out of this. So this is the first time that students have done a collaborative project for their capstone, where you guys have worked together and have sort of come up with something that has really evolved over the course of the last, I don't know what it is now, 2 months, right? So this has been really wonderful to see, and it's something that I'm hoping maybe we'll do more of going forward. So that's been a real change. I think you guys have done an amazing job throughout.
For Priscilla, actually, I have a question on why you chose to make it such a physical thing rather than what, like, screen recording or animation, just down the forth, because I find it extremely ironic that our theme was algorithms in the first place, and now we're completely online. And now we're completely online, but you still brought it back to the physical form paper. So I'm curious as to why you chose that, or even what message conveys out of that choice.
I don't know if I should be honest. So my original video was going to be a similar format to Wendy's, where I would be using Adobe animation and, you know, creating frame by frame. But I wasn't sure how COVID was going to affect us and whether or not we would have access to Adobe and the softwares. I was just one night on my phone reading comics, and I'm like, I can't just mimic it on, you know, a 2D phone. And when I actually presented the work in progress, you guys actually loved it, which was kind of confused and like happy about. I also kept the raw scrolling, which you guys loved too, which was kind of strange because everything it's very lo-fi, but you guys loved it, which was really strange. And Mushan, like you said, it's really weird how we're like all focused on tech now, and I think my project does post the contrast at the same time. So it's interesting how you point it out. I didn't think much about it. Oh, I have to ask Ping a question now. I remember how you were struggling too on you were trying to figure out your project on a paper. How did it evolve into this different medium that you're using now? And like what process did you use to learn this like within this short time frame?
So I was trying out different stuff. I know like what I want to do. So I was like, I don't know what's the best way. And through the whole process, I had to learn new stuff through YouTube to gain skills on how to use specific, because I didn't know how to use it. And I got a lot of help from Danica. So I was really happy with the whole process. But yeah, I had to learn a lot of stuff that I didn't know in order to improve everything. So that was a challenge for me in the beginning. I thought I was gonna just leave it like blank, and then when it gets to a point where like it doesn't sound, it sounds better with sound, so I just try to find the best to fit in. Yeah.
I have a question, sort of for the whole class actually, or anyone who wishes to answer. So one of the biggest themes of our exhibition was this relationship that we have with technology. And I guess my question is, how has the events that occurred changed your relationship with technology? Or like, on the other hand, do you think that technology has changed or impacted you in any way?
I can answer some part of that. I feel like for most of us now, we're using technology almost 24/7, almost every hour that we're awake in our days. I feel like we either are on our phone or on Zoom calls or doing something, because now in order to do anything in life, it has to be digital since we can't go outside and do anything. So I personally have just kind of felt more like, I guess, controlled by it in a way, which is interesting because that is our theme kind of. And it's kind of become like too much for me at times. Like when I finish the day, like if all my classes are done and all my other like meetings with my friends are done, sometimes I can't even like sometimes I don't even want to get on a FaceTime call with people because I'm like, I'm just too like, I don't want to see the screen. It's just kind of become like a bit too much sometimes. So it's really interesting how when you take out the face-to-face interactions that we usually have with people, we're left with like, this is our face-to-face interactions. So I just feel like the technology has become a much bigger part of our lives. For good or bad, I think there's a little bit of both in there. But either way, it is become a much bigger part, and I don't think that it's going to be leaving anytime soon. I think if anything, this has showed like the world that a lot of what we used to do in person can actually be executed online. And so I think we might start to see some of this stuff being shifted to online just permanently, even without a global pandemic, whether that be college classes or just working from home. I think we could see a bigger shift to online in the future. So yeah.
Thanks. I think it's so interesting how our relationship is changing. I know for like me personally, I feel like I've always used technology. Like everyone uses technology, and I think at some point I did feel overwhelmed by it all because like this is my only outlet for now. Um, but I think that at some point like a lot of us experience and like my perspective on this kind of changed a little bit, where like I now see it more as a tool, um, even though like it's always a tool, but at some times like you said it becomes overwhelming and it feels more like a cage than a tool. And I think that's something that I learned from this experience was how to like regain that power, using technology as a tool rather than like letting it shape us.
I actually wanted to jump off of that because I almost completely agree. Before the quarantine and everything that happened, it was more so I would just, for instance, my phone or just YouTube in general, it's more so mindless stuff. But in the quarantine, I'm on the computer for a reason. I'm searching certain things up for a reason. My phone, I'm much more purposeful with it. So I think it actually like gave me a lot of control with it. And then added on to the fact with quarantine, a lot of white noise is gone. Life was moving very like rapidly in quarantine with a chance for us to kind of just like, hey, relax, chill out, take a step back, do what you want with it. That's kind of my take on it. A lot more control and a lot less cloudiness in my head with it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Mushan said because I guess for me, my personal experience of using the internet and stuff, before the quarantine happened, it was pretty much as like a distraction. I would just go on and I'd mindlessly do stuff. And that's where like the technology was controlling me. But now that we are in quarantine and it seems to be pretty much never ending, I started thinking like, oh, I guess it's time for me to start like planning out my day, trying to figure out how to be efficient with the time that I do have right now to like explore some of my hobbies. And that's something I never got to do before.
It looks like we're almost winding down our discussion here, and we just have a few minutes left. And I'm wondering actually if a way to sort of conclude this, because we're talking about quarantine and about our habits, maybe we want to play the, Brian, I'm not sure if you're able to do this on quick notice, but maybe we can end by just playing through the full collaborative project.
Okay, yeah, I can pull it
I
up.
think that might be nice for folks to see, and I think that's kind of a nice way to end.
All right, so this is going to be the full clip of our project, The City That Slept.
Thank you. And thank you everyone who's come to join us. Thank you.
I mean, not like very well, more like bad. Yeah, no, it's not bad, not bad. It's still a flex. See, it's good, no?
Yeah, Lou? Yo. Yeah, you ready? What it is that's left you feeling overwhelmed right now. Begin by taking a big deep breath. Just dissolving any feelings of discomfort or of being overwhelmed. When you're ready, just gently open the eyes again.
Magbukas ka pa ng hina, nananabig na lalamuna. Tama na yan, inuman na. Tama na yan.
What's up, bro?
Is this supposed to be like this? It's too gooey.
Hi, what's with Dumbo?
Thank you. That's such a great way to wrap up. Thank you, everybody who has joined us. And please visit our website and you can check out all of the links, the full-length works. They're all available at newmediaartspace.info. And thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.